Right guys, welcome back to my channel. And this project today, no fancy intros or anything. I'm using some 1x6 pine boards. That's just like one complete board that's been chopped down in half. Roughly there's about 4.8 meters altogether of pine. There is some sort of bits left over which I'll use for other projects, and I'm using some pallet wood for this. So this project, I was asked to do it, and it's sort of like a project my dad asked me to do. Recently I was up in my hometown of Manchester in England, go to see my dad and me younger brothers, and about 18 months ago we lost us mum, and he's done a memorial garden in the front garden of where he lives, and he wants to wish him well, one that he can paint up. So he asked me to make him this. I've never made one before. I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. I was a bit apprehensive to make it, to be perfectly honest, because I know the sort of sentiment behind it, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. It's something he asked for. He don't ask for much, and it's a nice thing, and he wants to finish it himself. So he wants me to build it him, and he wants to paint it and stain it. Here's Stanley, come out for a nosy. Weather's getting warm. He's a bit camera shy there today. Look at him. He won't look at the camera. So yeah, I'm just going in with I'm just ripping some of it down, and I'm just winging it right across this project. I just wing it, basically. I don't know what size it should be. I've got a rough idea of where he's told me where it's going. When I was up there, he showed me. I didn't have a tape measure or anything, so I'm just going off sort of a visual sort of reference of what I've seen. So the base of it is basically two sections of 30 centimetre by 30 centimetre pine butt jointed together, and then I've put another one on top, stacked it and staggered it round just to give it a bit of visual appeal. Glued that together, and then it's all held together on the inside with some bits of scrap pallet wood. So here I'm just getting a 45 for, this is for the uprights for the sides. Now this was, which I'm thinking sort of the best way to go about it. I don't know if it is. So basically I'm just putting like a 45 on each side of that. And I've ripped that board down there to, I think it's roughly 5 centimetres, 50 mil. I think that's right, it's 50 mil or 60 mil. But again, you can make this project however you see fit. I know there's probably loads of different variations on this project that you can sort of have a look at and think, yeah, I'll have a go at that. So I'm just going to glue everything. The glue I'm using will be okay for exterior. So I'm pilot holing. This is sort of like, I don't know, is it called rafters? I'm not sure if that's the right. It's like the arch bit of it. I don't know if that might be the wrong word I'm using, rafters. I'm not a construction guy by any means. So you let me know in the comments if that's right or that's wrong. So anyway, I'm just drilling pilot holes through. And then them end grains, what I do here, what you don't see off camera, I glue them and then I leave them for a bit, and then I go back and glue them again just to let that glue soak into the end grain to give it a bit more grip. But I do screw on top of that as well. So the screws I'm using here are, this one is a 40 mil torque screw, and it gets 2 in each one of them sides. And I'm just doing my best to sort of level everything up. Everything's done sort of by eye. There's no sort of accurate measurements or anything like that with this build. As long as everything's measured properly, accuracy is sort of not important with it. You know, you can be a mill out here and mill out here, mill out there. It's just sort of like where the joins are and, you know, the visual appeal of it. So I'm just putting this little support in each side here, which will sort of make it true 45s plus give it some added strength. So more glue. This project had loads of glue on it. And off camera, they've already had a coat of glue. They've already, been sat for sort of 10, 15 minutes for that glue to go in the end grain sections of that wood. And that was a tip I picked up off one of the comments again. So whoever that was, it dropped that comment in. Thank you very much, because when I did research it, when I looked, it is the correct thing to do with end grain. So more glue here now. Now I've got a bit of a better surface area here for this to glue onto. So as you can see there where I've cut them 45s, it just meets that. So is it ridge? Ridge, is that the right word again? Ridge? I'm learning all these words, aren't I? I'm probably getting them all wrong, mind you, but, I'm learning them all. No doubt you guys will be screaming and shouting at me. No, it's called this, it's called that, but please do. So in this section here, I'm going in with 30mm torque screws. I used a combination on this build of 30mm, 35mm and 40mm torque screws. So here I'm using the wood to get me sort of thickness of that board. And again, pilot holing through. This is like more decoration for the garden in his little memorial garden plot, what he's made. It looks really nice as well. But like I say, he wants to finish it, gives him something to do. And it's a good thing, really. So here I'm using 40mm torque screws again, making sure just everything's sort of lined up as it should be. So I'm just measuring the span across now. I think it worked out about 35 centimeters across, and I'm just measuring the base, so just to make it look sort of, so it's not overbearing the roof, it don't look too big for the base, if that makes sense. So for the roof section, I'm using some pallet wood. I had them pallet wood strips, and this is some birch dowel I had, which is going to be for the mechanism for the bucket that goes up and down. And there's where I join the two base sections together just by using some scrap. What he's going to do with this, he's going to paint it and stain it and paint it, or whatever he said, to certain things he's making himself. And then he's going to fill it with stone and sort of flowers, artificial flowers and that kind of thing. So this is upside down. I'm just putting the base, and what he wanted was a base putting on it with either drainage holes or some form of drainage. So I just put like planks across and then just Brad nailed them in. And there's going to be little rubberized feet goes on there eventually once he's painted it to sort of raise it up. It's sort of like going on top of some gravel. It's not going on like grass or anything like that. Ideally, the pins here, I mean, I don't know if the pins are stainless steel or not, but maybe stainless steels or stainless steel screws might have been a bit better. And I just give everything a sand. This is where I just sand everything nice and even, get all the rough bits off, all the sort of fluff round the corners over a little bit. And I use a combination of 80 and 120 grit papers on this. And I want to leave them pallet wood stamps on there as much as I can as well. I think it just adds to it. It just gives it that little bit more charm. So the pallet wood's a bit rough anyway, so I just tend to give that quick sand over. Again, just marking everything out. I'm just going back and forward and sort of got this picture in my head of how it should be. And I'm going through here for the bar that sort of goes through. This is a 30mm hole and the doweling is 28mm, so it just lets it sort of free move in that hole. I don't want it too big. Again, around power tools, guys, just be super careful. Make sure your hands are in the pull position to make sure if anything goes, your hands are going to go straight out the way. And again, just going through nice and slow, taking my time. And try to reduce tear out as much as possible here. Which I do. But little bit of a mistake there. You know, they weren't perfectly lined up, but it doesn't really matter. Now, I'm just making a stop for one end to stop the doweling falling out. So I just thought I'd make one by hand by myself. I thought I'll just make one. Never done one before. So again, more glue. And they are slatted onto the inside and just screwed in again I'm using 30mm Torx screws here. Just make sure everything's lined up properly. It just wandered a bit the first time I put it in, so where that hole is now, I took that out and I'll go back in just underneath it and then come back to that when I've screwed the others in, and then it should just line up all perfectly. So this build, I reckon it come in at, there was a piece of 1x6 which cost less than sort of £10 UK pound. The pallet wood, you know, less than £2. Screws and bits and pieces, you're talking on a conservative side less than sort of 20 UK pound to make. You pay a lot more at like a garden centre for something like that, and with this you've got the added satisfaction of you've made it. You know, obviously it's got to be painted yet and stuff like that. So I'm just brad nailing it in at the minute just to keep it all together and just to get me structure right. I'm liking me brad nail of this new DeWalt gun. I really like it. Total step up from the other one. And this is for, hang on, is this the right word? An apex of the roof? Is that right? I'm going to get roofers shouting at me, aren't I? Again, I'm using more glue and brads here. I've got like loads more control with this nail gun over the last one. It's a total game changer for me. It really is. I'm really pleased I invested in this gun. I'm just checking if pins have come through there, but they've not. So you can see there I've just made a feature of the top by adding an extra sort of dimension and layer, and I'm going through now countersinking for just an added other feature of what I put on it, which is these galvanised clout nails. They're doing nothing really. I mean, they will add to the strength, but it's more for decoration than anything. and with that pallet wood stamp on there as well. It just gives it a little bit of something different, and that raised sort of section on the roof. So the little stopper made, I need to do a bit of shaping on it just to make it round and get it looking half neat and tidy. Let me know what you guys have all been making, been up to, and been in your sheds and garages. Let me know, you know, what you're making and stuff like that. And let me know where you're all from. It's nice to know where you're all from. I've not asked that for a while, but it's nice to keep in touch with the sort of community that I'm building on here. So on the doweling, I'm just sort of marking dead centre of where the central section of that will fit for an hole. Now, I haven't got any string, but what I did find is I found some of this sort of like leather lace type stuff. Shelley never throws anything away, and you know, she's a godsend sometimes, because I was scrabbling around looking for string and rope and all sorts. Couldn't find any. I got some rope, but it's too thick for this project. So I thought I'll use this, and it just adds another little touch to it that's sort of nice. It's just a bit different than string, but ideally I would have used string. So this is for the bucket. The bucket I just made from pallet wood again. You'll see that in a minute. And that's the little stopper to stop the mechanism falling out. Now that's a loose fit, because what you can do is pull it one way, turn it, and then you can push it in, and it sort of locks it off in position. She loves it. No doubt she'll want one for the garden, and my sister-in-laws are going to see this video, and they're going to want one, obviously. So here's it's finished. I know it's not painted or stained. My dad's going to be doing that, but he's going to fill that full of flowers and plants and stuff. And as I speak on this video, he has seen it and he absolutely loves it. So that's a added bonus. That could have been round, that bucket at the bottom, but my skill set's not up to that yet. So let me know in the comments what you think about it. I think I've got it proportionally right, you know. So you pull it out like that to turn, and then what you do is you push it in, and it'll sort of lock onto the roof there, sort of. It does work. So let me know in the comments what you think. It was a really enjoyable build, a bit of a sentimental build, a bit of a sad build, really. You know, I couldn't get my mum out of my head, but there you go. And what I will say, guys, is once again, thanks for watching, and let's get on to the next video.